Well, he can't call it a
Oh, you don't? Oh, we just have a discussion.
It's just, you guys just wanted to get together and talk about dogs and cats today, and that's about all you can do. Because you can't vote or delineate towards a vote.
Gotcha.
So you can't say next week, I'm putting you as chair.
Right.
But you can talk about all the programs and all that stuff.
I was fixing to say, I need to be filled in more about the paper.
Okay.
And what about the ladies that was wanting to join the board? What do we do? We need to take that before the commission. Are we ready to go with that?
Yes.
So I can add that to the agenda.
Absolutely.
What was their names again?
Christy. No, that's anyone's name here. Her last name is Richardson. Krista Richardson, I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Krista Richardson.
Krista,
Yeah.
Christa?
Krista. And then, what's Chastity's last name? Do you remember Chastity's last name? Lindsay.
The
Lindsay.
person, is that Hargrove?
No, Chastity Lindsay. But the problem with Chastity, remember we was talking about, is that she doesn't own property here yet. She can contract on something, but she don't own property.
Is
Christy-
she the one that owns the rescue in
She don't own a rescue. She's a
Dog trainer.
dog
dog
trainer?
trainer. Yeah.
When is she going to have property here?
Hopefully in 30 days, but
Oh.
you know how that can go.
Yeah.
We gotta close
Oh,
first.
nice.
Yeah.
Well,
So
do you want me to jump in and?
So we can, let's hold on that one, and then we'll take Krista Richardson
yeah.
before the board, and who will we be?
Yes, go ahead.
You said you spoke with Vince and he wanted to
Yes.
come on.
We even tried to see if Tammy would come on, and she said she couldn't.
Okay, so we'll try to get that done at the meeting. And I would imagine, I don't think Joe may want to stay on, but I would have a feeling he would. I think I've heard that, but I'm not going to say that on record. 'Cause
Well, then if Christy gets property, Chastity gets property, then,
you would have a seat.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So do you want me to jump in and just summarize the paper dog program?
Please.
So, as everybody knows, over the years and years and years, there's just been little Band-Aid approaches to the animal control problem here in Stewart County. And I, for one, have appreciated each and every one of the different programs, that have been allowed, and they've all been pretty successful. But without diving into all that, the most recent program is the paper dog program. And that is where any 501c3 nonprofit animal rescue in Stewart County or in surrounding counties, if they take in a bona fide Stewart County stray dog, abandoned dog, or now we've added orphaned dog if the owner dies, they get a $200 stipend or contribution from the county to their animal group. And the Humane Society has two different accounts. One is specifically for my cat program, and one is separate and specific for the paper dog program. And I have two people, so we check and balance it. We used to have Jeannie Frederick, and she resigned, and so Larissa Anglin now writes the checks. And we do verify that if an invoice comes in, and it's a pre-template invoice, comes in for a rescue that took in a stray, you know, we make sure that it was a stray or abandoned or orphan dog before a payout is made. And every month I reconcile the bank statements, and every quarter I put everything together and it's turned over to the mayor's office. So we started this program December 3, so we're about at a year and a half right now. And in that time, we've had 9 different rescues, take in dogs, and been paid out. And I took a count from when we started the program to date, and she hasn't written the last couple invoices, but we've done 100 dogs. And of course, that includes puppies, so that adds up. If you have a litter of 6, of course, that adds up. Let's see, the county has given us 3 different payments, $18,000, $18,000, and $10,000. And out of that, we have $28,591 balance. I am the type of person who likes to keep a balance for emergencies, and for whatever other reason. I don't like to go down to the penny and run out of money. So this last request for the nonprofit meeting tonight, I did ask for $18,000, and I was asked to be at the meeting tonight because I was asking for more than $10,000. And I can't be at that meeting tonight, and after looking it over and looking at the reserves we have in, I put an amendment and said, we're gonna just request the $10,000. Now that's not gonna stop me if we run out of money coming back. I don't think we will, but one idea I want to discuss when we do have a quorum, and Eli's here, is, you know, I know a lot of people want an animal shelter and an animal control officer. Well, we all know the mantra is come up with the plan and the money. And the last time the rescues tried to do that, it didn't go through for, you know, various reasons. But I was thinking, if we're gonna really wanna start looking long-term, that any pot of money left over at the end of the year to put it in some kind of trust fund that earns interest. And it'll be like a capital fund. And so over the years, we're gonna build up a pot of money and earn interest on it. And at some point in time, when you really have, you know, some go-getters that can put together an animal shelter plan and an animal control officer, there's going to be some money there as a capital buildup. I still am a firm believer that the sheriff's department needs to be involved. And I know the sheriff always wanted to do something, but hands are tied and people get busy. But what do you think about sucking money away as a capital for someday in the future, building a shelter?
So what I've seen in the past out of the nonprofit committee, and they're not the end-all be-all, they're a recommending committee to the county commission. So one of the things that they look for in nonprofit monies is how much money do you have and how much money are you spending on how much money they give. I don't remember the exact group it was last year. But when they turned in their sheets that we asked for, and they had $100,000 in the bank, and they're at, you know, and that group at that time, which is the same committee right now, said, we're not giving you money for a savings account. So with that being said, you would have to come up with a better plan than stacking it away and just earning interest, because tax dollars and, you know, because there's people out there that don't care about cats and dogs and pay taxes. There's people out there that love cats and dogs and pay taxes. But I love dogs. But if my family doesn't have food in the pantry and you're putting money back in an account for dogs, it's out of the same tax dollar, you know, it's just a different way to look at it. I mean, it's just an outside perception that would, you know, why is my tax rate so high? Well, it's not high here, but why is it so high if we've got nonprofits that are putting money in the bank for savings accounts to draw interest on? I think you would get some flack on that. I think you would get some outside flack on that. And then you would get the other side that says, yes, it's a great idea. Can we not stick that money in a money market account right now? It's like 4% or something. Everything over $25,000. And then when you get your nut, I mean, you're drawing money off that right off the bat. Now, that's not to say that, you know, we still couldn't do something like you're talking about.
I haven't, some of the money market accounts have been really super duper low, so I'd have to look into that. I think I looked into it with Regions because I'm with Regions, but to get even a little bit of better interest rate, it has to be a CD, and that ties it up.
We do banking with every bank in the county. The wife and I do, and we have a money market account at Farmers and Merchants. Anything over 25,000 is drawing like 4.5% right now.
Ooh,
So
that's good.
you can't, if you go down or up or whatever, there's limits to where you can go,
That's
but
about the good.
just to draw
Very good rate.
immediate money off of it, and I don't know how much. But and you can draw out of that account, it's just like a checking.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That brings
I'll
it-
look into that.
That brings it to if what you were saying is that if we're taking this money because it's county or tax dollars and putting it into what you're talking about, your program, what if we turn it around to where we're doing fundraisers to fund our trust or money market account?
That's true, because then the people,
It's the committee, it's the county or the community that's actually putting in the money that they want to, where they want to.
so to build capital, you have room, clearly. If the committee decides to award $10,000 tonight, you're going to be sitting close at $40,000. The trend that I'm seeing now, take the catastrophic event that happened out of the picture. The trend I'm seeing in the last year, and just because I'm hearing and I see it on social media, is that the program is working. I don't see as many, I still see tons of dogs out there, but I don't see as many as I did. And I don't hear about as many as I did. They're still out there. We know we have to stay diligent, but at the same time, the program is working.
Right.
So you could literally, if you needed to do a fundraiser, if you needed to do a $5,000 fundraiser, the commission did not appropriate that money to go to the program that we started. They appropriated that money, and then this committee came up with a program. So the commission's not going to say, you can't have a fundraiser with that because that's the pay for dog money. They're not going to do that. And plus, they don't have that authority.
I don't think she's saying that.
Well, I'm saying that you could spend this money and have your fundraisers to build your capital account with, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where you're not building your capital account with tax dollars, you're building your capital account with fundraising dollars.
Fundraising.
Right.
But you're paying for the fundraiser with tax dollars.
No, I don't see of any expense. Usually we don't have any expenses.
No, I'm saying you can. I'm saying you can. If you guys say, I wanted to have a chicken plate lunch one day, you could pay for your fundraiser with that chicken plate lunch.
And then put it back once
And
you're
then put
done.
it back when you're
Oh,
done.
gotcha.
And you, whatever money you raise, you put that back into your capital account.
There
Oh,
you go.
okay.
And
Exactly.
but she's right about go-getters. No, I mean, I know y'all are going to be go-getters. We need some more, because it's her and Lisa. And
And that's why I was asking about the the rules of our committee too. Do we have rules for this committee, and like what are the baselines for how many meetings you can miss and all that?
We don't have, that I know of, and I probably would now because I've just about been through my office completely. I didn't see any bylaws for any committees of the county other than the statutorily placed committees. There are statutorily placed committees that have bylaws that are set forth by the state. This committee does not follow that. So, that would actually be a really good place to start, is to start maybe meeting a little bit more regular, adding a few people, and come up with maybe some things to start off with, because you guys have a really good base right now. Like it is, and I know we've had some bad events in the counties lately. I'm not sugarcoating any of that. But you have a really good base.
And that is the main purpose of this meeting today, was to talk about inspecting the nonprofit rescues that do take money from the county. And since we can't go, I mean, we can discuss it now, but we can't vote on it. We're being proactive because, as we all know, the Segley's rescue, what happened there is very unfortunate, but Lisa had never put in for county money. So, but we want to be proactive, that let's say there's another rescue and the county's given them money, and then all of a sudden something dramatic happens, and then we find out the animals aren't being properly taken care of. So really today's meeting is to be proactive and set into some place an inspection of these rescues that take county money.
How are the rescues accepting the fact that about being inspected? Is that
I've only talked to her on the chat. I haven't seen anything negative, and Charlie has said, hey, she's an open book. She would, just like a little notice.
And I don't know if I necessarily want to call it an inspection, but more of a, hey, what do you need and how can we help you? But, and we don't know that if we're not actively out there and communicating more with them on their site and seeing, like, I noticed that you've got some pens, some Kindles that need some work kind of thing. What can we do to help? And not necessarily that we're looking at something that's going to just take someone down, or we're worried about this or that.
Right.
It's not that for me, but it also can catch an issue before it becomes an issue. And that's kind of why I would want to look into the whole check and balances of it all.
Do we want to just inspect or oversee groups that are in county, or anyone taking county money?
I personally think anybody taking county money.
Because some of those are.
Clarksville.
Where's Proverbs at?
Oh, well, yeah, she's in Dixon.
Yeah.
But Krista, who does the fostering when they take them in, is Houston County area.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what's everybody's feelings on that. I would think if we're going to look at Stewart County, we should look at them all.
The thing about
Can we look at other counties?
We can if we're offering money. They don't have to let us, but then we don't have to offer them money, I think. We don't have any authority to go in and do anything.
Right.
We're just saying, hey, we'd like to just come see a rescue, make sure it's
And to that end, what I think we need to put together is some kind of agreement saying, I, such and such rescue, agree to have somebody stop by
quarterly or whatever.
quarterly, semi-annual, whatever we all decide, and that's what.
And I would actually honestly like to invite the rescues to put some input of what they think too, because I don't want them to think that it's in a form of an attack or anything like that. It's just a measure to make sure, one, the county money that we're using is being utilized properly, and that the the rescues and animals are being, taken care of. And if there is a problem, some people don't realize there is a problem, but we might see it and say, hey, listen, maybe you do need a little extra help. Are you okay with us? And can we help you do X, Y, or Z, whatever it may be? I just think that it's something that we should be doing, because I think it may have prevented some of the issues in the past. I'm not saying that everybody's going to have them, but it don't take but one time getting sick and then your rescue may suffer. A lot of us didn't even know what Lisa was going. And had we maybe had this program, we might have been able to help her without her having to come to us and ask for help when she was going through so much already.
One thing I mentioned this, when I mentioned kind of following up with folks on this, what I really was leaning towards was the fact that in the next few years, we might have the ability to go after some grants and things like that. And maybe it's more tax dollars or whatever, but what you do is you show, by doing that, citizens that you're protecting their money. They don't feel as bad about it when they see that you're getting $18,000 or that, because they know it's protected. They know what you're doing. And that just, to me, it's just a good steward of money, and it really gives you some more clout to stand behind and ask for more money.
And a lot of grants are specific capital fund monies.
Actually, me and my wife, and we met Miss Tina over there at the animal shelter in Paris. That gentleman's very educated, and which I know y'all are too, but I would love to have him come to our next meeting and just talk about some of the stuff he talked to me with, because he really opened my eyes to the fact that, like, one lady, I seen her in the pig, and she was like, well, why is the county, you going after all these grants and you're getting all these grants, but you're not going, there's not many grants for the county. But there is tons of grants for nonprofits and individuals. I think Miss Tina even asked, do you have to be a 501c? He's like, no, not all these grants. You have to be. Some of them. So letting him come talk, and if y'all don't want to, that would be completely up to y'all. Or you don't even have to listen to him. But he is passionate and he's educated, and he.
Can we steal them away?
I doubt it. He's paid also, so I doubt it.
I'm open to definitely listening.
He had some really good ideas about, and I asked him one of the questions while we were over there. I said, would $1 million do it? He said no.
Oh.
And he said it fast. No.
$1 million per year, or to
no,
set up?
I meant to start off to
Build a shelter?
Build a shelter and staff it to some sort of extent, just to get the volunteers started. I don't know if you guys noticed, the volunteer spirit across the United States is going to hell fast. We don't have volunteers anymore. Nobody volunteers for anything. The fire department, they had 100 volunteers. I mean, they're struggling to get guys to show up to fires. And it's not just them. I just know them because we've been working with them a bunch. It's happening all across the states. People are just not wanting to volunteer anymore, and that's fine. I don't do what I could do, but. So when we talk about building shelters, you're going to have to eventually talk about adequately staffing one, or you're going to have a building with nothing in it, eventually.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's what that gentleman was telling me, and Randy and Miss Tina, because we were all wondering, we wonder what it would come in at. And I said $1 million. He said no. So.
Well, what was it, a couple of years ago when I went to that class in Mount Juliet for basic animal control, they let me tour the Mount Juliet rescue, and now that place was awesome. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but it was a room, it's not as quite as big as this, however, it was like from here back, and it was full of food and stuff that people donate. And I wonder why can we not get that kind of help here? Of course, I know Mount Juliet's a little bit bigger and stuff, but
I think the donation thing, when you see something, I think it's to me, and what I see, it's expanding. I see volunteers coming down, but donations going up, and I don't know if that's what that's from. But I see that, so I could see if we
It's-
were to get that.
It's easier to open your checkbook than it is to take time away from, that you very little have with your family and everything else. So that's, I mean, we're just in such a fast-paced society now that it's really hard to do those things.
She was really good at her job too. I toured the rescue, I toured the shelter, and she was very knowledgeable. She knew a lot of things, and she says that she does a lot, gets a lot of grants, but plus she has a lot of people that, family, friends, and et cetera, that help out too, so. But she did have the help, so.
I think if you had a central location here, like if we had an animal control,
Mhm.
we would get donations. People would know where to take stuff.
Exactly.
But now,
Yeah.
you know, where do you don't know
Yeah.
where to drop it off. And there's not a big ask for it either. I don't see if, you know, rescues aren't on social media or places asking for donations very often. But I think if we had something, the community would donate when you and I would be out begging for money. We always got a decent response. The little fundraisers we did, you know, we would get, you tap into those animal lovers that have big pocketbooks and they would be,
That's something too, to
Good.
encourage our rescues to do more fundraisers, knowing that the animal control will support you as far as helping to advertise it, getting out there, helping drive more people to your fundraisers. But they need to start, you know, trying to be proactive in doing those things, and knowing that we can come back and help them, maybe even set it up or like I said, market it for them, push it more.
I think most of the time in rescue, especially here though, it doesn't come down to a money issue most of the time. It's just a manpower issue. And having the manpower to care for the dogs that are in your foster system and have the manpower to get them adopted, to go to adoption events and get them on Pet Finder. You know, rescue is such a twofold mission of the actual rescue and the fundraising. You're constantly trying to do both. And the Humane Society always had plenty of money. It was just getting adoptions, and you can't buy adoptions, and you can make it free, but that doesn't really solve anything.
Could you take that money though and help pay for someone to come and help with the manpower?
Employees, sure, yeah.
Even if it's just a temporary thing, it's like, you know, maybe a teenager after school kind of job.
I think you see with JD and Lisa, even they were paying people to come help, and they couldn't get reliable help. That was their problem. It's not great work. It's a lot of poop. It's a lot of poop and a lot of gross stuff. And, you know, you can have to deal with an aggressive dog or an aggressive animal. You know, every day is challenging, and not everybody wants to do it, especially for minimum wage.
I think getting back together sooner, getting some bylaws, not even bylaws, I say bylaws, but just getting you some governance and some guidance down, and then list your goals. I mean, my goal, I would love to see animal control officer myself. Even if it's just one, I think it could make a huge difference, because a lot of the abuse cases that I've heard about and seen in the county, we see like on the sheriff's page where he goes and he combats some of it. But I think that's a tenth of it, you know, and then by the time it gets to the newspaper or whatever, nobody knew about it. And there's really, he doesn't have the manpower to send I would highly doubt that they go out to every animal call.
Well,
I don't know, but I mean, I know
they try to go out as much as they can, especially the real bad ones. But a lot of times they're on other calls, so they may not get out there at that time, but they will normally go as soon as that, you know.
But if an animal control officer, if we actually had one, you know, maybe it would be worth going to sitting down with the city and saying, hey, would you guys like to help out with this?
City is getting an animal control officer.
I haven't heard anything about that.
I heard it was gonna be Frank County. That's what I was told the other day.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, I don't know that 100%, but that's what I was told.
Well, maybe
So I
we
don't
could,
know.
as a board, you could contract with them to help the county. I don't know how
I
that
don't know
looks.
if that's true or not, but. you
Yeah, I
know.
haven't heard that, but that's,
Yeah.
kudos to them if that's happening. I hope it is. And if it does, then we'll get front row seats at seeing how it works. And, you know, because I don't think you could go to the commission right now and say, we need, you know, it's time it'd be $100,000 to start off with.
Well, like I said, I don't know that that's 100%.
Right.
for sure, but that's what I heard.
But if we see it happening in the city and they see the committee that's in place is getting after this issue, and maybe, maybe we could go see about,
Jumping
or
over.
even on contracting with them.
Yeah.
That's the most logical thing to me. If the city of Dover is getting an animal control officer, contracting with them, to,
Go do welfare checks.
and, I think eventually, though, you've got to have some means and standards of holding somebody accountable for jacking with a dog's dog, or a cat's dog, whatever. Because and that may have to mean you have to go to the academy or whatever. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not educated in this field, but until you have accountability, it's not going to stop it. You can't just because you've got a police car and pull up in your driveway, if the guy doesn't have a badge, it's got to be, got to have some
Yeah.
repercussion first.
Oh, yeah, that's why
So,
I was
I mean,
fought for years, like, I am not going out and doing welfare checks. That should be
I
law
don't-
enforcement job.
and I don't think that's a safe thing either.
Yeah.
A lot of the folks that go after these animals and they do harm to them, it would be no different doing harm to you.
That's right.
So, yeah, goals for this committee, I think that's a great idea. And having animal control,
Yeah, I'd say short-term and long-term goals.
Yeah.
And then,
okay.
if you get tired 2 years from now and want to come off of the committee, at least the next person on says,
Has something.
well, they're on track for their 5-year plan. Let's
Yeah.
not jack with that. Let's go to something else.
And oversight of the money that the county gives, I think that's a great ongoing goal.
Susan has a great, it's what she does right now. I mean,
Why not?
it's once a quarter she comes in the office. She says, this is the dog, this is where it was paid, this is where it was spent. I mean, she's got all that. I've got the file. And
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly see $10,000 as a bargain for the program that we have going on right
Can
now.
I get a copy of what the actual
Yeah.
invoice looks like? I'm just.
Sure. I'll send it to you. I've meant to bring the whole folder, but I
Yeah,
can
I
send one.
understand.
Any of that stuff that I've got, it's all public record. You can have any of this.
I was just curious. I
Yeah,
want to
I've
see
got
what it
It's-
actually looks
It's probably
like.
that thick by now. $100 or something.
But to reiterate, if the committee gives us the 10,000, my amendment letter does say my plan is we're probably going to spend 10,000, but I want to eat into that balance. Just so you know. That's why I wanted Levi here to brief him. But I think we'll be fine for the budget year coming up.
Anything else?
I'll add Miss, and you've spoken with her, I'm not familiar with her, and at this time with budget season, I don't have time to go investigate anybody. I don't want to,
Yeah, she's, I've talked to her, she seems very committed, she wants to be a part of this. She does have some experience with animals. She does not actively run a rescue or anything, but she has some ins and outs, so I think she'll be a good one.
so we wouldn't have any conflicts. That was one of my
And-
next question. If somebody has a rescue, that they would disqualify themselves from the pay per dog if they would be to be on the committee. I don't think you need one of the rescue people on the committee that's taking money from the committee. I would have a hard time with the accountability.
Well, I want to be transparent right here in this meeting. The Humane Society has a cat program, and then we have this account. And I don't take any money for cats, and I did that on purpose. But from time to time, on an emergency basis, I can take in a dog and vet it, get it adopted out, and I have put in invoices for county money. I've only done it on the accounts when other rescues
Right.
can't take in and it's emergency. So I have put in a couple invoices.
Well, I just think that if we went and got one of the rescues that, you know, and being part of it, and then they started taking in a large amount of dogs, you're just gonna have a lot of questions is what you're gonna have. Now, I've seen yours. Yours were emergency situations, and then, so I've seen all of those, and I don't think anybody could, those are easily explainable to
And you're
me.
not a legit dog rescue,
Right.
right?
Right.
I'm not.
So.
We're still gonna inspect your premises.
Yeah.
You get 2 days notice.
And I don't know
Tighten up.
anybody that, I mean, and if, you know, y'all can discuss that, do however you want to. I'm just saying, that if you took in one, you turned in 30 invoices a year, and it just,
Yeah.
it's gonna be y'all to have to answer the questions, as long as you can answer them, it's fine, you know.
Why can't they recuse themselves when they vote on that program?
Should.
Like the
Thank you.
commissioners do, abstain
Abstain, yeah.
with their own budgets. You know what I mean?
That is
We
what,
have several that do that already. I don't see where,
That's what I brought up. I said, we don't need a panel of rescuers, because then we couldn't vote. But if we happen to have one, then they could abstain from voting in a certain situation. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think if you was to bring one on board and they have a lot, you're just gonna get,
Yeah.
you're gonna get questions, because guys, I've had this conversation with a lot of folks. There's folks out there that are not like us, and they don't care. I mean, dog rescues to them are 22 shields, so, you know what I mean? So, what, you just got both sides to every coin, right?
That's right.
For the next meeting, I think we need to put together whatever that agreement's gonna look like that the nonprofits
okay,
or the rescues will,
you want me to do that?
everybody kind of bring their ideas. If you want to put together a rough draft and then any other ideas we have to bring,
Okay.
so we can get that finalized. I don't know that we have to vote on
Do you remember the gentleman's name?
Zach Brom.
goals.
What was his name?
Zach Brom, Z-A-C-K, B-R-A-H-A-M. He was just featured on their page not too long ago.
And that's the animal gentleman over
Yes.
there?
In Paris, yeah.
Would y'all like for me to reach out to him and ask him to come spend a couple
I,
minutes with us?
Yeah.
Or would y'all like to get all your other stuff done and then the next meeting?
Yeah, I think next meeting, let's
Next
get
meeting,
this
maybe.
kind of worked out, our goals, our 1-year and 5-year goals, the rescue agreement.
And then have him come the following meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
get ourselves in order, find out
That's good.
our chair.
He just had a lot of good information. I think y'all would enjoy it.
And then some sort of either governance or bylaws. We'll need to work on that as well.
What does that look like? I don't know what
Just
that-
exactly what we just talked about. You can't put on this committee
Oh,
things like that you'll experience.
Yeah.
And you want to be transparent about and say, I can or I can't. So 2 years from now, if we're all not on this committee, they don't have to have that conversation again.
That's right.
It's already in your.
And it also will set us up, we could do, some kind of governance with how many meetings if you miss without it being excused. That way we can keep people on here. Like if there's a reason, then we're checking in, we're going, okay, well, you've not checked in the last 3 meetings, what's going on kind of thing. So,
Since it's a committee, do we just do guidelines? Can you do bylaws with a committee?
Sure.
Okay.
You're actually a nonprofit. I thought most nonprofits had to have some bylaws.
Some kind of
I'm guessing they don't, if y'all don't.
This is a nonprofit?
no, not the
The
AC
Humane
committee.
Society.
Right.
No, I'm talking about the Humane Society.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
But she's talking about the AC committee, right?
Yeah.
so can the AC committee have bylaws is the question?
Yes.
Okay.
You can call them whatever you want to call them. You can call them
Okay.
bylaws or the laws or the rule of the committee. It doesn't matter. You just,
Rule of the
you
committee.
get them and,
Okay. Like it.
but I think it's a start. And I think that's, to forming, a stronger committee. Because
Okay.
Susan's only going to give us 10 more years.
You're so funny.
We might be lucky to get 2 more months.
Just promise to come to my funeral. There'll be dogs and kitties.
Okay.
when would y'all like for me to tell the, I say tell the paper, but I mean, I'll give it to Michelle or one of y'all can, since we don't have who was our last chairperson? The last two meetings, we haven't had
You didn't have a
quorum, so
quorum.
we didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say our last chairperson is not here, so y'all will need to start the next
Right.
meeting with.
We were talking about just kind of starting fresh anyways.
Well, I mean, you can do it, it's due now, it's due every year, so you're following everything that you're not bending or breaking or
Was it-
doing anything you're not supposed
Is
to
it
do.
Vince? I think it was Vince.
Oh,
I may be wrong about that, but it seems like he's foremost in my mind for some reason.
Levi could
Can
tell
we
you,
set a
he's about the
meeting
only
up
one.
on
He
No,
can
we
look
can
it up
talk
and
about
tell
what
you.
our next meeting will be. I like the fourth Tuesday at noon. That's what we
Fourth
did.
Tuesday.
And we can't say that's definitely what we're doing, but next,
The 22nd.
the 22nd of April.
I'm actually good with the 22nd of April.
What date are we looking at?
The 22nd of April at noon.
God damn, it's always on my day, my week. It's always my week to work.
you need to retire, Miss Lisa.
Well, I'm trying if I can just figure out what they're gonna do about Hunter's benefits.
The only thing that's gonna prohibit you meeting here is when I get back and look at the calendar if it's already booked.
But we can move it to like the library, couldn't we, or somewhere
If
if we
it's
need to.
open.
We could also use the gallery next door. I did that for a couple of committee meetings where this is,
Small.
because this committee's not,
Do you know the owner?
I don't. It's you actually own it, you contacted me.
The galley? Oh,
I thought you were- No.
I know you're talking about Mama Mia.
No. Yeah, y'all can meet there whenever you want to meet there.
What's the galley then?
It's
The little-
the room
art
next door.
exhibition room.
I don't know what it's
Oh,
called.
that thing, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And we can use
I thought he was
Zella.
talking about Mama Mia's too, so.
No, I'm just talking about right over there.
Okay, pizza on booth. Well, that's good with me. 22nd.
Yeah, lunch on food.
I'll go right ahead, I'll go over and charge it.
Well, now you tell me when I just,
Tell the
We
lie.
got $28,000 though. Just kidding. Hey, on that commissioner committee, a nonprofit committee oversight thing tonight, I heard somebody just say 6, but it's on my record at 5:30.
It's at 5:30.
It's
Okay.
5:30.
Is there an order of what groups are needed? Because I've got to be here, but I also need to take my kid to softball.
Heather's worked up the agenda,
Uh-huh.
but I don't have it in front of me.
Can I call her and ask her?
Or, yeah.
Are y'all asking for an increase? Oh, you're with Costa, yes.
Yeah,
I'll ask for an
switch,
increase.
sorry.
Yeah.
But Anna, and I'm supposed, so 5:30, Anna's got to be at softball at 7. So,
Are y'all asking for an increase?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so y'all have to be there. Okay.
yeah.